Hello. Hope you don't mind me sitting down. Okay. I thought it'd be nice if you could all sit together. That's all right. My name is Chaitanya Das. I was born in the darkest ignorance, actually, and I stayed there for some time with my eyes very tightly shut. And my spiritual master very kindly opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. So before I say anything, I should just offer my respects to him, if that is okay. So it's very nice to be here. Before I start, I have a story to tell. And before I start my story, I just wanted to say there's a very nice example that's given in Vedic literature. Vedic literature is ancient wisdom passed down from teacher to disciple for the benefit of everybody, every living entity. And one example is given. Everybody here from Canterbury? There's a nice river that runs through Canterbury called the River Stour. It's very beautiful, you can go and see it. And there's a bridge that goes over, and sometimes people like to throw some sticks or grass into the river. And you can run down the river and you can see, you can race them, you can see how they progress together. And life is actually compared to this game in Vedic literature. So they say life is like that river, and we're all like these sticks. So now we're all together. But as time passes and our desires change, and the world has its influence upon our lives, we sometimes come apart. So for the time being, I'm actually feeling very grateful just to be sat in this room with everybody, because it may never happen again, and we should take full advantage of each other's company while we're here, I think, isn't it? It's nice. Backstage, there's like a really great atmosphere, you know. Everybody's looking after each other so nicely, and everybody's getting to know each other and supporting each other. So hopefully I can contribute something useful to today. I'll do my best. So my story starts on the 12th of February 2010. Actually, my story starts, well, to try and get into where our story starts in 18 minutes is perhaps not very practical. So we'll say it starts on that time, February 2010. And I was a musician. I played in a rock and roll band in Brighton, in the south of England. And I lived a very bohemian lifestyle, and we were exploring music and art, culture, these things. And I was living the dream I'd always wanted since I was a child. And I got a text message from my mother about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and it said, "You must come to St. George's Hospital in Tooting, South London. Your brother is there, and he's not very well." So immediately, I packed a bag, jumped on the first train, and went there. And I love my brother, very special person, very, very special person, and he's older than me. And when I was growing up, he was like a guru, you know? He told me what clothes to wear, what music to listen to, how to talk to girls, what to study at university. The most important things in life, you know? Very, very important things in life. So I really worshipped him, you know? And he's a great person. So I rushed to go and see him out of affection. But when I got there, he was in a coma, and I was on my own. So I was stuck in something of a dilemma. Having expected to go and see my brother and get his advice and see how he is, I was stuck. I should also point out that the nurse that took me to his bed just left me there. She thought I already knew. That's why, here's your brother, you can come. So I came to see him, and I was thinking, oh, maybe he'll wake up in a minute. I gave him like a little nudge, and oh, okay, this is perhaps more serious than I thought. So I got some advice from a nurse or authority. She said, oh, you can speak to him and you can talk and, you know, interact with him. It's very good, the person that's in a coma, to do this kind of thing. So I was speaking to him and asking him how he was and what's been going on and, you know, how's life, and telling him what's been going down in Brighton and all these different things, and getting very little back. Anyway, long story short, we spent 3 days in this hospital looking after my brother. And in those 3 days, so many people descended upon this hospital. We took over our whole waiting room. The entire floor of the hospital was just dedicated to us. And so many people, artists, poets, musicians, writers, great personalities, they all came to come and see him. And after about 2 days, we came to something of a stalemate, you could say. A medical impasse had formed. And it became very clear that if he was to come home with us, it would be in a vegetative state. Understand? It was, you know. So, we have a decision to make, and we decided that the life support machine that he was on should be turned off. So, we have apparently about 12 hours for an otherwise healthy body to kind of wind down naturally when the internal systems are, you know, no longer willing to function, we should say, like this. So we switched off the machine. He got put in his own private room, and the countdown began. And we all sat in the waiting room, and I had a bit of a dilemma to solve, because I was sat in one room drinking coffee and eating sandwiches and so on, and my brother, who always looked after me, was sat in a different room, dying. And I went to go and see him and make sure he was okay. But everybody that was around me was saying, no, no, you shouldn't go. It's very traumatic, and you're a young man. I was 26 at the time, or thereabouts. You're a young man, and this will haunt you for the rest of your life. You shouldn't witness this. It will live with you forever. And it's actually quite difficult if you've ever seen someone die, because when the body shuts down, phlegm naturally gathers around the chest and the throat area, and the body tries to expel in the death throes, coughing and spluttering like this. Very unpleasant. Anyway, I waited with him, and time went by, and he calmed down, and eventually he breathed in, and he breathed out, and he didn't breathe back in again. And I thought, wow, amazing. He made it. He made it out alive. It's great. So I looked over the bed, his girlfriend was there, and we smiled, and the doctor signed off all the forms, and we went to go and leave. And they said to us, before you go, would you like to go and see him one last time? And everybody that was there said, no, no, he's not there anymore, I don't want to go. And I thought, well, if I go, you know, I may regret it, but if I don't go, I think I'll definitely regret it. So I went to go and see him, and because that's what they do in the movies, I like kissed him on the head. And a few days ago, we'd been at a football match, watching the football, and very excited, enjoying together. And just a few days later, I was really repulsed by him, you know. I went to kiss him on the head. I did it, but it was disgusting, you know. Very unpleasant. So that posed a big question to me. And I thought to myself, what is it about my brother that I love? What is it about my brother that I love? It can't be his hair or his teeth or his bones. It can't be his bile or his liver or his toes or his cheekbones or his lips. Because those things were all laying in front of me on a hospital bed. It must have been something else that I loved about him. Otherwise, why is a living body beautiful and a dead body disgusting? Isn't it? So I was thinking like this for some time, and I wondered how my brother coped so well with death. And his girlfriend said he read a book, and this book was called Bhagavad Gita. And this book completely changed his life, and he was able to face death without any fear. So I went on a journey to find out about Bhagavad Gita. And on that journey, I met devotees of Krishna. Krishna is the person who speaks Bhagavad Gita. He is the speaker. And in the Bhagavad Gita, he reveals all the secrets of life. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, you are not this body. He says, you are an eternal spirit soul. And a symptom of this spirit soul is consciousness. So I wanted to find out more. So I found these devotees of Krishna, and I went to their house. And I smelled the incense and the food that was cooking, and we chanted the names of Krishna, and other Vedic mantras, and my consciousness was completely transported out of this material world to a place I never really knew existed, and it was incredible. So again, I wanted to find out more. So I started studying Bhagavad Gita. I wanted to know the truth. My brother had said, when he was diagnosed with cancer, I just want to know what's going on. He felt like that was his right. The only right he had was to know what was going on. He wanted to know the truth. So I too wanted to know the truth. So I started reading Bhagavad Gita, and it explained a very simple thing. That on the platform of the body, everything is relative. We can say we are happy, but how do we measure happiness? It's always a relative thing. I'm happy today because the snow has gone that was there yesterday and I can drive easily, isn't it? I'm happy this afternoon because I was hungry this morning and now I've eaten. It's always relative. And as soon as it comes, it goes again. My brother was a DJ and a model, very good looking guy, you know, very, very handsome. I hated that about him. I really hated that. Still do. I don't really. But you know, very good looking guy. But all of that was gone. His money, his fame, his wealth, his girlfriend, his family, his car, his social status, his expensive education. He lost all of it at the time of death. So my understanding is that value, how do we value things? We value things really according to how long it lasts, right? If you go to a pound shop, everything you buy is cheap, it's tacky, it doesn't last very long. So it's not very expensive. If you want something nice, you have to pay good money, it's valuable, right? And it lasts a long time. So this happiness that we experience on a relative platform, whether it's our intelligence, our mind, our intellect, our body, it's cheap, so cheap, and we work so hard for it. And what happens at the time of death? You lose everything, gone. I saw it. You had nothing. All you have is your consciousness. So to add value to all the different things that we do, whether it's poetry, whether it's science, art, literature, events organization, academia, you have to find a way of connecting it to the spiritual platform. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says on the spiritual platform there's no loss or diminution. It's all gain. So this has been my life since then, finding activities that I can perform that enhance my consciousness, knowing full well that everything else that I gather will be stripped from me at the time of death, which can come any time without warning. So the first thing I heard when I went to this ashram to hear from Krishna's devotees was 3 words. And those words were Atato Brahma Jigyasya. That in this human form of life, you must make inquiries into the nature of the absolute truth. Otherwise, everything else is meaningless. Absolutely meaningless. Even the legacy you leave after you've died will be annihilated when the world is finished. On a spiritual platform, everything becomes glorious. It becomes Sat Chit Ananda. It becomes full of knowledge, eternal and always blissful. This is our real nature. And this is how we're able to face something as big as death with no fear. So my humble request today, the idea which I would like to share, is for everybody just to contemplate a Tattva Brahma Jigyasya. In this room and watching at home, you have some of the brightest minds in the world, actually. Some of the brightest, most intelligent people. So my request is please, don't sell yourself short, and please don't waste your life, because it can be taken at any time. Please embark on the glorious mission of self-realization and make very serious inquiries into the nature of the absolute truth, which is eternal, full of knowledge and always very blissful. Then everything we touch will become very successful. Thank you very much.